Hello
Oh,
and welcome to the Door 14 Hockey Podcast. I'm your host Marty alongside Dave
Hello.
and John.
hey.
Yeah, oh yeah, let's switch that around because that was confusing me there too. Boys, how's it going? How's it going?
Good,
It's our
good, good,
first
good.
off-season special. Yeah, I know. Like we literally, let's be honest, let's be transparent about it. We literally seen each other face to face last week or the week before when
Yeah.
John was over in Belfast. So
And you
let's pretend
totally
we
forgot to
haven't.
take your phone out your pocket.
Well, that's
We were
true.
living life in the moment.
We were.
We were. That's true. That is true. So let's pretend, for the sake of entertainment and the podcast, that we haven't. I don't know what you're trying to show me. That we haven't seen each other. So hi, how's it going, Dave? How are you doing?
I'm good. I just found out that you can connect to our chat, your comment section
Mm-hmm.
on your phone.
Oh,
There you
yeah.
go. I know. It's been very, very good. Yeah, yeah. A lot of building work going on in my house, so trying to get kind of back to a little bit of sense of normality. But everything is dusty and nothing is clean. But hopefully, in the next few weeks, we'll get back to normal.
John knows
Mate,
exactly how that feels.
I'm in 2 months and still nothing is clean and nothing is finished. And yeah, it's great. But I'm in my new studio office for the first time on one of these recordings. Everything is still very rough. There is a box of tech here that I haven't gone through yet. I've basically set this all up and haven't set this stuff up. I've got jerseys hanging, but just kind of hanging on the paneling and off an old set of shelves. And it'll be more refined as the season goes on, as the summer and as the season begins.
Nice, nice.
How
Well,
are
it's good.
you, Marty?
I'm good. I'm all good. Glad to be back doing a bit of a podcast and catching up on some hockey after a few weeks of a break, shall we say. But it's been a busy off season so far. For anybody who's listening for the first time, because we have gathered some new followers over the last 2 months or so. Everyone who is listening to us for the very first time, you're very welcome. This is a podcast that just looks at all of the stories from right across the world, and we split into three different periods: period 1, 2, and 3, similar to a hockey game. And we will get into that in a few minutes, and you'll kind of see the kind of get the feeling and the look of what the podcast is, especially if you're new around here. No Aaron just yet. He might pop on maybe as the episode goes on. He is late at work, so he might pop on if he gets a chance later on. So we'll hopefully see him. But yes, boys, as I said, we do have quite a few stories that have cropped up. We want to kind of capture as much as we can of what's happened so far in the off season, both here in the UK, primarily in the Elite League, but also we'll have a look at the NHL and the Stanley Cup and how it all kind of shook out over the last over the last few weeks. So if it's okay with you guys, I think we may as well just get stuck into period 1.
Sounds good.
All right, period 1 is a roundup of all of the stories so far in the off season for the Elite League. Now, we're not going to cover every single thing. We're not going to cover every single signing that has happened so far because it'll be here for a while. We're not going to cover every switch and transfer that has took place, but we will try to look at we'll try to have a look at some of those key signings that have piqued our attention, shall we say. We'll look at some of those big moves that have happened so far that have caught our attention. So don't be offended if we haven't covered everything for your team that you follow. And with that, guys, I suppose let's have a quick look at the roster so far as they are starting to take shape. John, let's go to you first. In terms of what we're seeing so far for the different signings for each of the teams, we'll look at let's be clear. Let's keep the Stars and the Fife Flyers separate for now. We'll talk about them later on. But let's look at some of the other teams so far. Who anything particularly has caught your attention? Any particular signings, or shall we say like group of signings, or like I suppose a direction that certain teams seem to be going in that has caught your attention so far in the offseason?
I think in general, just the across the league, the number of returning players has struck me actually. There's been clearly a lot of retention across the teams this year? I know there's been some internal moves, there's been some guys leaving certain teams, landing in others, but actually, when you look at, I want to say the big players, like Belfast, Cardiff, Sheffield, certainly, lots of returning faces. And it looks like those teams are looking to refine on an existing known product within those teams. I think it's fair to say, probably with the exception of Cardiff, when we got to the bottom end of things, at the back end of the season, very, very competitive at the top. And it doesn't look like much is going to change across those rosters. They're basically just looking to make up for retirements and maybe specifically the young players who are getting that opportunity to move to European leagues, or maybe some Brits that are deciding to call it a day. Belfast especially, we've seen a departure of a number of Brits through retirement. So yeah, lots of retention across, I think, imports. Brits is going to be very, very interesting across the league this year. We've a number of high-profile retirements from the domestic game, and it's going to be interesting to see how they go. I know you said we're going to talk about Fife and Dundee separately, but Fife very specifically have said that they're going very Brit-centric, and we'll probably go on to why they're thinking about making that sort of move with other changes in the team there. But yeah, retention seems to be re-signing is probably the phrase that I would see most often through Elite League socials over the last month or so.
Yeah, Dave.
Not without that dash.
Not without a dash. Dave, same question to you. Anything particularly jumping out? Any particular directions you're seeing teams going?
Yeah, so it's a sort of I would echo what John said. There's everybody's looking for stability, which is obviously huge. There's growth, I think, in all aspects of the teams. A few decisions, like obviously we've seen. We keep an eye on our local trained players. Obviously, Max Stewart is no longer in the Elite League. He's moved back to the Milton Keynes Lightning. So Coventry decided obviously not to sign him back again this year. I thought he'd done well. He wasn't not doing huge numbers. He's probably getting more ice time in Milton Keynes. But with the shake-up and the thinning of British talent at the top, I thought it was a bit of a strange choice because he's a player that's only going to get better over time. But it'll be one to watch. We'll see how it all shakes out. The Giants in particular are shaping it quite well. Probably more players signed for us at this stage than we normally would expect. We've had a very strong returning core, which is great. We're keeping our top line. And then adding in Nicholas Gay's brother, Patrick Gay. So it's going to be, brother combos are always interesting in the league. We've had it in the past. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we'll see how it goes. The Cole Shudra coming in to Sheffield seemed a bit out of left field for a lot of people. I was definitely taken aback. We'll see how he shapes up. He will have a different game in Belfast, I think, compared to what Foxy's systems were. I would say you probably get a little bit more ice time in Belfast. We play a bit more clog up the ice at times rules, which he would do pretty good. But we'll watch it and we'll see how it comes. We've still got a lot to go in our off season, and the Elite League almost every year. Sometimes it's like we dump it all out and restart again. So it'll be interesting to see what it all ends up looking like at the start of the actual season.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we have, if I worked out correctly, we have approximately 10-ish weeks to the first puck drops of the preseason games for Elite League teams.
So I can start counting it on my fingers.
Yeah, so it's not too far off.
They've been counting it on their hands for the last 2 weeks. Oh my God.
Funny. But yeah, I'd probably echo what you guys are saying. It seems to be whenever I'm putting together the weekly news roundup, the last few weeks, it definitely seems continuity seems to be the key word, or the repetitive word that seems to be used quite often. There does seem to be a bit of continuity going on right across the league for teams, trying to make sure that they've got that kind of key core signing. I mean, some of the names you're not surprised to see coming back year after year. I mean, you've got the Cardiff Devils, who announced Ben Bowens today for an 11th season, but then you've also got Gleason Fournier coming back. Evan Mosey was there. Mark Richardson for what was his 18th season or something along those lines.
Did anyone else think, be totally honest, when he announced his GB retirement, did anyone think, in all honesty, we were going to get a summer retirement announcement from Bouncy? Because I'll be honest, I was 85% there that I thought he was done.
I thought he maybe do his GB announcement for his retirement, and maybe this will be his swan song last season in the Elite League, maybe this year. I thought maybe
his testimonials this week, so I knew that was coming because that's been put out, and I wondered, was the testimonial? Well, I mean, maybe I was overthinking it. Maybe the testimonial's not the place to say goodbye. You want to probably do it in front of an actual domestic crowd and have that be your swan song. But I wonder, was he going to do something like Jono Phillips? So Jono retired from the Sheffield Steelers at playoffs a good few years ago now. Actually, the last playoffs we were all at. And then almost immediately after a very quiet summer, he was signing with the Steel Dogs. And honestly, that's maybe what I kind of thought was going to happen with Bouncy. I didn't think he'd leave the game behind. I thought maybe there's a step down, maybe there's a slow progression to life outside of the playing side of the game. But no, he is back, and he's in the crease for the Devils once again.
I mean, there's been a couple of names who obviously have announced their retirements from international play. We also had Dowdy as well, Robert Dowd from the Sheffield Steelers, confirming he was leaving the GB squad after this past World Championships. But again, he signed up for this next season for the Sheffield Steelers as a returning player.
Honestly, we could have an entire podcast about it, and I kind of want to bring Anthony in on the conversation about it. Maybe it's our next off-season special is to talk about GB, because no team, no fan base likes to hear the word rebuild, but honestly, that's what it feels like for GB right now.
No, I get it. Obviously it was a pretty tough World Championships this year for Team GB. And as you say, John, where does it go coming into World Championships season next year? Because it's going to be a completely different looking Team GB going into next year. So that'll be an interesting one. I'm sure it's something we'll be watching throughout the season. So it'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Anything else? Any other big signings or any other surprise moves that caught your attention before we move on to our next story? Anything?
I'm sticking with the goalies again, but Jackson coming back. That was not we put a post out, I think, the week before playoffs, asking people to give us their weird and wonderful rumors that they were hearing. One of the most common was Jackson Whistle was done. And do you know what? That was clear that the Giants knew all about that conversation happening, because the announcement, it was very much a was it ever in doubt type thing, that Jackson is back. There'd been a lot of conversation that his reduced game time was down to injury and everything. But you know what? Jackson Whistle, probably since the Tyler Beskorowany years, is the reason that the Giants have lifted trophies. So very, very pleased to see him back again.
And I think that'll be I think the Giants look like they're going to have a good tandem this year in Jackson Whistle. Hopefully a nice fit Jackson Whistle starting the season, along with Kupski, who's coming back for what he feels going to be. He got a taste of it, a little tiny taste of it, as we said in his little video. He got a taste of it last season and he wanted more. So he's coming back full-time contract next season with the Belfast Giants. So that'll be an interesting start as well. I suppose the other one... there you go. I think the other interesting one was that kind of came out of nowhere. If we're talking about goaltending, was probably the Nottingham Panthers moving and bringing in Matt Robinson as part of their goaltending setup for this year. Obviously, we don't know who's going to partner alongside Matt Robinson this year, because obviously they announced not too long ago that they've parted ways with both their goaltenders from last season. So it'll be interesting to see where they move from that point of view. The only other name that I kind of was quite surprised about, we were talking about switching. We could talk about the Whistle move, and we could talk about his brother Brandon going back to Sheffield after one season in Belfast. We've seen other players who've done that before, and who have come back and
that
scored
screams not
brilliant goals for us.
That screams not liking the coaching, the style of coaching to me. He's going back to Fox, who he was probably, I don't know, I'd have to look at the stats, but I would say arguably was his move about getting more ice time. So
Possibly.
did he come and maybe the ice time wasn't coming? And he's going back to a known quantity. He could easily have gone to another team and got a lot more ice time, but he has gone back to Aaron Fox, and he knows what the ask is going to be. So
yeah, Brandon came in, and he didn't. To me, it seemed like he didn't quite he didn't fill the role that Adam wanted for him, if that makes sense. Adam always wants somebody who's going to put a proper shift in, like a full shift in. Not saying Brandon didn't, but Brandon is quite he's very good on the attack. He's just not as good on the back check. When you're watching him, he sort of seems to lose interest a bit. Now, he did try his best, where I think Foxy might let him do that and then come off, and focus on that attacking game. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think the other one that was quite a surprise as well was the Guildford Giants, Flames. Obviously signing Carl Budris to add to their Giants lineup. That was another.
That's very good.
So yeah, that was another interesting move, and I think a lot of Giants fans felt that one whenever that was announced that he was leaving. There was quite a few posts the next day, the same day.
But on their confirmed roster, it's only now two former Giants now. I think the rest have not yet, as of yet, re-signed.
True. Okay.
But that is still a good quarter of their signed roster are probably still rocking their Belfast Giants kit bags. So
yeah, I did see that Curdy. I did see that was a Curdy announced his move away from Elite League this year. I didn't see that Charlie Curdy announced that this week, so they'll be without him next season.
And did you see that Alex Kafka has signed in Austria for the Pioneers?
Yeah, back. He's gone back. Went back to them. Yeah, seen that.
Yeah. So, his sponsored pads will make a lot more sense.
So true. Okay, I think that'll cover it for now. We'll move on to our next story, shall we say? And let's start off. I think let's go with. Do you know what? Because we haven't talked about the two teams yet. Let's start off with the Dundee Stars and the Fife Flyers. We'll start off with the Dundee Stars. The Dundee Stars, prior to the season coming to an end, we knew, and we talked about it on one of our last podcasts before the season broke up for the year. Before we broke up for the season.
I hope they get back together.
They announced that obviously a new ownership and blah 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 blah. But after that, then what we've seen so far in the off season is a brand new look for the Dundee Stars with new branding. Let's throw that up so we can have a quick look at that. So the Dundee Stars putting out new branding, looking a bit like this. Why were we cutting there? What was that reaction, John? That was a very strong reaction there.
It's awful. I'm sorry, but this logo is better than the word splash. The word splash is horrendous. The Dundee Stars. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. But I did have a go at it on our TikTok channel, I think, when it was first announced. It's awful. If someone didn't use ChatGPT and someone went to a designer for that, then they should have a refund plus a percentage, because it's brutal, horrendous. Dundee have had multiple really good branding styles. Thinking back to the Texall Stars, that was really strong branding. Now, I'll give it this. I'll wait and see what it looks like on a jersey. But no, I'm really not a fan of this. The visual identity is awful.
Dave, you anything positive to say about the Brandon?
I think the logo looks all right. It's actually, yeah, I wouldn't go like I wouldn't say it's amazing, but I do like it, and I do sort of get what they're going for. Dundee's biggest issue, and it always was with their jerseys, was how they incorporated their sponsors. And if they're going for a circular logo, say if that's the logo they want to put on their jerseys, what are they going to do with their sponsor? Are they just going to slap it above it on a big square? In which case it'll make it look really rare. And or are they going to do just the D? Just the D. Sounds terrible.
You.
You.
On the jersey, just the D. But no, I think it has an opportunity to look really well. It has a sort of Captain America thing going on with the star and stuff. So yeah, it could be fun. Depends on what they do with the rest of the jersey. I do agree with the Undie stars. With the word bit, it looks desperate. It really sings that somebody didn't double check it before publishing it. But it yeah, it just doesn't look quite right. But yeah, no, we'll see how it goes. It's one of those things that their implementation could be brilliant. A good example of that would be Cardiff's new logos. I really did not like Cardiff's new logos on paper, but on their jerseys they work, I think. And they've done a really good job using their third logo and stuff to make it a bit to differentiate it a bit. I think they've done a really good job with it. So it'll be just to see if they do how they use it, and if they use it well, then happy days. But anybody can take even a nice logo and ruin its execution. But we'll see.
Yep. As you say, the MKM sponsorship that they've always had on the front of the jersey above the Dundee always did look, it overtook, and that big bold yellow thing was always just kind of there, and it always took away your eye whenever we were looking at jerseys. Whenever
MKM are still title sponsors.
They are. I see that. So it'll be interesting to see how that looks next season. On top of obviously the new branding and obviously the new look, the Stars also appointed a new head coach in the form of Scott Dutry. He is an interesting. He's new to the Elite League, so he's a new name to the Elite League, head coach for the 2026-2027 season. He joins from the Tulsa Oilers, which actually, strangely, I'm actually wearing a Tulsa Oilers t-shirt tonight. I didn't actually realize it's where a Tulsa East. There you go. So yeah, he served as the assistant coach from 2021 to 2024 before being promoted to associate coach ahead of the 2024-2025 season. And he helped guide the team to 3 ECHL semi-final appearances. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what he where he goes. He also served, interestingly, internationally as the national skating and skills coach for the Ice Hockey Australia team, and also worked with players from both Team China men's, Team Canada women's Olympic programs as well. So it'll be very interesting to see how he starts to shape the Dundee Stars coming this season. Now, he has made some moves. He's brought a few players in across the Tay from Fife into Dundee. A few names there have switched across, and so that's been an interesting one. But he's brought in a few other players, a few names that he's worked with before, some young talent that he's worked with before. So he's starting to kind of put together a picture of what he's looking to do for the team that he's putting together for next season. But what's your thoughts so far on the signings there, John? Anything caught your eye there for the signings for Dundee?
There's going to be another Hoffman in the league for the first time in a while. Don't know the guy at all, but I'm excited to see a Hoffman back in the league. I think on I don't actually know how to pronounce this. I've meant to watch a Dundee Stars video because he's done a couple of interviews since he was announced on like the head coach. There's too many T's in his name, and I don't know which ones are like pronounced and which ones aren't. But the coach was an odd one. Don't get me wrong, not the oddest head coach signing that we've seen so far in the league. But the fact that he said that he'd had the opportunity to come to the league before, but those offers were for assistant coach roles. So it'd be interesting to know who was looking at him for an assistant coach role. But this is his first head coach role as well. Now, don't get me wrong. I haven't been an assistant coach in the ECHL. He has. So I'm not slating the guy at all. He could come in and be an absolute revelation to the league and understand systems better than anyone. But that all has to come under the banner of, can you produce that as good a coach as you may be with Glasgow's B team style budget? And that's the reality that he is walking into. In fact, they're both, even though it doesn't exist yet, they're both Dublin B and C teams at this point. We all know that. So, do I expect this guy to stay here for the long term? Probably not. Is this a stepping stone for him to look for other jobs, either in the UK or more than likely in moving into Europe? Probably. I don't know, it's so hard to get excited about Dundee given how bad they were last year, made to look only better because of how woeful Fife were. And all this ownership change, this terrible graphic designing. The only thing that went well for them last year was a couple of their jerseys were stunning. And actually, most of the ones that were really nice were designed by fans, not actually by their own graphics people. So, also I live in Fife, so it's just generally really hard to get excited about Dundee. It smells.
I know your Fife showing, mate. Like it's
Your Fife really is showing. It really is. Wow.
Put my third nipple away. That's what people in Dundee would say anyway.
Speaking of Fife, let's move on to Fife and talk about them so far this off-season. Now, Fife haven't... Obviously, they went through a very turbulent season last year. We probably started around about this time last year getting quite excited about the prospect of what could be for the Fife Flyers. In terms of obviously new ownership, a bit of a new, not new branding, but they kind of went in for a new look to their logo and all that type of stuff. And that was this time last year for the Fife Flyers. We were really excited and we kind of thought, right, well, this is a really good move for the Fife Flyers. It's going to be a very, we all have a little bit of a soft spot, John more probably than us, for the Fife Flyers. But unfortunately the season just seemed to just bomb like really badly. Poor results, really bad moves when it came to kind of press releases being put out, number of different controversial things happening on and off the ice, issues with ownership and payments of stuff and everything else. They seem to be back on a bit of an even keel, shall we say. We don't know. We're guessing yes, because obviously they're making moves and they're still continuing in the Elite League, and we were kind of concerned again at the end of the season whether that was going to happen, and a load of stuff happening. But this offseason so far, the Fife Flyers then announced that they would have a new head coach and GM taken head over the Fife Flyers in the form of Tim Wallace. Now, Tim Wallace is a very familiar name for anybody here in the Elite League and in the UK ice hockey scene. Tim Wallace comes from he's had spats obviously in the NHL, AHL, ECHL, DEL, SHL, but obviously he is well known for the fact that he was in the Elite League for a short period of time, as the player coach role with Milton Keynes Lightning. He also stepped into the head coach position for the Nottingham Panthers, leading the club across 3 seasons in the Elite League, helping both win silverware during the Elite League series, which they like to claim, which again, we don't talk about the Elite League series because, realistically, what is that? But most recently, Wallace led the Milton Keynes Lightning in the NIHL as the head coach, during which time he helped guide them to silverware in 2023-2024 season and to the playoff championship in 2025 in a player coach role as well. So it's interesting that they have Fife Flyers have went and sought out Tim to bring him in for next season. Any thoughts on the signing of the new GM and head coach first before you look at the players that have already few players that have already signed for the Fife Flyers? Dave, let's start with you first.
It's hard to get excited for Tim Wallace. He's to me he's very vanilla. He's all right. Like he's not gonna be, and maybe it's what Fife need. He just reading what that was saying. I think he needs. There are what Fife need. They need somebody who knows hockey. It sounds really random to say that, but like take everything back to the basics and treat it as if they're building a team from scratch. Which, based on some of the signings, it looks very much like that's what they're doing. The big hurdle he'll have is ensuring that he has as much control on that ice as he deserves, if that makes sense. Being able to no one second guessing him in the dressing room, that they treat him like the head coach, and obviously that's what he is. But that they do everything that he sort of puts in front of them. What I'm worried about is that there's certain people in that organization that's caused some ruptions over the last year. The re-signing of Hunt, to me, yes, he's got loads of experience and he has a possibility to be a good player, but he was such a disruptive influence on the ice. I know that it's lovely to see a bit of a bruiser and a troublemaker and a bit of a rink rat.
To be fair, at least from a Flyers perspective, he wasn't the player who was punching his own teammates. So
that is true.
Yeah, well, that's true.
That guy announced his retirement. So
yeah. Well, that was, to be fair, they knew what they were getting when they hired him. So, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think that he's in for an uphill struggle. I hope he knows what he's let himself in for. He's not going to be walking away, at the top of the league, in my opinion, at the minute. But if he puts the work in, he could definitely be challenging for playoff spots and stuff like that. And I would love to be proved wrong. Maybe he'll pull it out of his arse and they'll be getting something interesting. But let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't really made too many signing announcements really so far. But again, this is Fife, so they don't really do that anyway until later in the off season. I think they've maybe announced maybe 10, maybe max, maybe players, even if that.
because they're waiting for all the imports to have their first, second, third, fourth, and fifth choice teams all say no before they go for a guaranteed payday with Fife. Listen, my take on the whole Tim Wallace thing might be incredibly controversial, but the signing of Tim Wallace is an announcement to the fan base that while they've already said they're going about rebuilding the team around a British player core, they said that they're going back to what Fife is known for. That's fine. This is an announcement of we've gone with a head coach who knows the British setup. Like Anthony's already said in the comments, like he's looking at the NIHL guys going like he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, because Tim knows that system. He's bringing these guys across. There's been nobody returning yet. There is not a one single returning signing except for Garrett Hunt. The other side that I find really odd around the order in which these have all been announced is that Garrett Hunt was announced as the first player re-signing, but also as an assistant coach. That was before they signed a head coach. So was Tim already in the background on this, or is Tim going to have to slot into a coaching system with an assistant coach because that's what Hunt wants? Hunt wants an assistant coach job. The Flyers know they're onto a good thing as far as PR and selling the game is concerned. So that's something that I think needs to be considered. The other thing, and I don't like. Okay, Hayden's back. Okay,
I was about to say the same. Whenever
the other thing about it is Tim Wallace's situation where he left Milton Keynes. He didn't step away. He was pushed out. He was effectively run out by the fans. The fans, you could see the social media outpouring whenever his departure was announced. It was like party time in Milton Keynes. So, is he going to come with a chip on his shoulder? Is he going to come feeling like he's got something to prove by moving to a team of the storied history of Fife? Or is he looking at it as, this is a team who ended rock bottom by a considerable margin last year. It can't get any worse. But Dave, I completely agree with you. He has to understand what he's stepping into, because this is now, I don't even want to say it's 2 years, it's probably about 5 years of Flyers fans being completely mishandled by their organisation. It can't go on forever.
Yeah.
It just can't. Something has to change. And we're going to get a full season with this new backroom setup. Well, we hope. It's what we thought last year. It's what we thought the year before that as well. We've got new owners who've taken over since the new owners. We've got new coaching setup. Everything's starting fresh, essentially. Let's see how it goes. But my expectations for Dundee were low. My expectations for Fife are lower, and I think fans have to go into this knowing what they're going to get, because they've said it's going to be a Brit heavy pack. I think we could probably see below the max or below the expected number of import signings. It's just my impression of the way that this sort of signing progression has gone, and the lack of import re-signings, with the exception of Hunt. Let's see where it goes. But expectations are fairly low right now.
As long as the thing that I was always concerned, whenever a team says that they're going to focus Brit heavy, it's, as an idea, sounds fantastic. What your concern there is that they don't hire enough players, and the idea that they're holding out for imports to become available mid-season, and then injuries have even a bigger impact because you don't have the depth in your squad. And that's normally that's the worry I have, because that's normally when a team goes, we're going Brit heavy, they're doing it so that they can hedge their bets and get a couple of really good imports. Like John said, whenever all the other choices have dried up, you might get somebody on the end of their career for a single season that just doesn't want to step away right now, who could be fantastic, you really light a fire. But it's a massive risk, because then you have you have less flexibility in your squad, and then you're risking that 1-2 injuries, and then you're just about able to put a team on the ice. And here's hoping I'm wrong.
You're absolutely right when it comes to the injuries and stuff, but what we can't have is a third year in a row where there's an elite league announcement about how they're going to bend the rule for Fife, because of
100%.
A number of guys being injured, or a guy leaving out with his contract, and all this other stuff. It can't happen again, because we've been on the line of the Flyers, I think, being a viable, not just a viable elite league team, being a viable hockey team. It's absolutely shocking that it's been mismanaged that way through poor signings, poor management, and from what I've heard of last season, incredible financial mismanagement. I've heard their budget is completely slashed this year, and I think that's a big reason why the Brit heavy signings, and probably a lot, like I said, I think there'll be less than the allocated number of imports. I'll wait and see. There will probably be guys coming up from the juniors who are looking for their first time, who might not be looking a huge amount of money. They might be able to grab those guys. I think it's going to be a very, very young team, or alternatively, a very, very old team. But let's wait and see.
Let's change this. Let's change our direction of chat. We've talked obviously about a lot about signings and about changes in terms of leadership. Let's talk about backstage type stuff, changes that are coming next season, particularly for two teams. And I think these are probably the two biggest stories so far of the offseason. Now, correct me if I'm wrong if you think that these aren't the biggest stories of the offseason. You can let us know in the comments, but I think these definitely are the two biggest stories so far. First one was the Belfast Giants making, or I should say, it wasn't even the Belfast Giants, it was the SSE and Odyssey Trust making, or not even the SSE, because well, you'll see, you know what I mean. The Odyssey Trust, who are the ownership, who have the ownership over the arena in Belfast, and also obviously the ownership of the Belfast Giants and the whole Odyssey complex, announced just at the start of the off season that the deal had been made for a new title sponsorship for the whole arena, which would be the O2. So the O2 is taking over ownership of the arena as of the 1st of July. So I believe in the next 2 weeks, and we've seen work already starting in Belfast. And you're going down past the arena, you'll see that the boards have already been taken down for the SSE signs, parts of it, and they're giving it a new look across the back end of the arena so far. But the Belfast Giants are part of that deal with the O2. As part part of the agreement that was made, the O2 deal said basically that they wanted to have title sponsorship for the Belfast Giants moving forward as part of the deal. What does that mean? Well, so far what we've heard and what has been confirmed from obviously from Fitzpatrick on the View from the Bridge podcast is that the Belfast Giants will likely have one lead sponsor next year potentially on their jersey, which means less sponsorship over the overall jersey, which will be the O2 Belfast Giants. And also as part of that, they'll be taking over everything in relation to the look and feel of GameNet experience inside the arena itself. So more money and more investment is going to be put into what that's going to look like overall, because the O2 are going to obviously put investment into the overall arena. Other structural parts to the whole thing will be things like increased and better Wi-Fi services across the whole of the complex, which is great. And also then the likelihood is that the deal for things like alcohol and drinks and all that type of thing will probably likely change as well, in keeping with the other O2 arenas across the UK, who all have things like Budweiser and Coors and those American brand style kind of beers. So we could be seeing something like that coming next season. Obviously, that hasn't been confirmed.
Are you telling me there's a chance that we could get Guinness?
No, because Guinness is done by Diageo, which wouldn't be as part of that deal with Bud, because they don't do Bud and stuff. So I'd say that it's very unlikely.
So what's our stout going to be?
Probably won't be one. Who knows?
Well, in the O2 Arena in London, the main O2 Arena, it's Camden Stout. I think it's quite nice. It's all right. It's no Guinness or all that, but.
Champion to Guinness, I'll just go there.
So who knows? But it's an interesting time. So guys, obviously I put out a couple of videos on our social media, our socials over the last few weeks. We've got people's take on what this would look like. But we haven't really had a chance to talk among ourselves. And well, we've talked among ourselves on our WhatsApp group, but we haven't talked publicly about our thoughts on this.
To all our fans.
To all the followers, yes. So kind of was going to get your thoughts on what you think of this new sponsorship deal and what you think it means for the club moving forward.
Can I just jump in? I flashed this up on the screen a second ago when Ryan said it. But look, he says he's looking forward to what a clean EIHL jersey will look like. As much as I'd love to see it, and as much as Gav has got everyone so enthused with his interpretations and his design work on especially the Giants Facebook forum, the likelihood is so low. Like we're not gonna get, I don't know what way I'm pointing. We're not gonna get this is a playoff jersey. We're not gonna get something like this with a single title sponsor and it's gonna be clean like that. That's not the selling point. That's not how these teams in our league bring in money. O2 is not going to put enough money in to avoid other sponsors. There will be sponsors at the bottom of the jersey. There will be sponsors on the arms. There will be something on the back. There will be something on the shorts. It's unavoidable with this league. Now, prove me wrong. I would love to see a clean jersey, like a North American style jersey. The likelihood is just so low. I think it's almost unachievable. Now the front, like I say, the front of the jersey might look incredibly clean, but there will probably be if they do that, it'll be really busy arms, is what we'll end up with. And to be honest, that'll probably look a lot worse. Busy arms.
Busy arms.
Just wait until they start doing all the 8,000 one-off jerseys where they've got to color delete and everything else, all of these random sponsors in the arms. There's a potential that I might Jason Rushton a new jersey when I get one and just cut the arms off. That was Rushton, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
Cut the arms off and get rid of all the extra sponsors and just have a nice clean O2 Belfast Giants jersey.
It's going to be interesting to see, the O2, the way the wording is, and the way the wording from Jim Gillespie as well. Well, not Jim Gillespie. That would have been interesting. If it came from him, it would have been right.
Not saying anything about the seat this time.
No. Yeah. So the
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick. Yeah, they're talking about the amount that's being invested, and it's unbelievable how much is going in to the arena and the pavilion. Whenever you look at things that they're organising and has put forward for planning, so they've put forward for planning for a care centre, where the old beach club was, with an MRI machine, which is what, 10 million, give or take.
I've never bought an MRI machine, so I don't know how much they cost these days.
Now
You're the closest thing
this'll
to a healthcare worker we know.
Yeah, true. Yeah. It's obviously that's for the team. It's all mentioned in their request that it's for team use, but it's obviously going to be for if there's big acts on and there's an accident. It means they don't have to.
Clearly, they sell that out as like a private healthcare clinic
but that's
type thing as well.
That's what they're going to be doing, but it's not its primary function. Its primary function.
I mean, you can go to Five Guys, clog your arteries, and then just go down to the other end of the pavilion
theoretically,
and get them pulled through and get them cleared out the same day.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Theoretically, why not? But that sort of gives you an idea of the stuff that they're investing in, especially as basically just as an investor and someone who's using it as a way to advertise. At the end of the day, they don't own the building. They don't own this care center. They're just facilitating it.
That means there's somewhere you could go and get your O2 sats taken.
But there's also things that they're talking about putting in which are very sports centric, which is the banners, the banner screens.
Yeah.
Around the arena, which is a very sporty thing to put in. The game will play into the game night experience, and if it's done well, it can be really, really entertaining. I was in Nashville, and they utilized theirs really well. Showing the scores, showing the lineup. Who was on the ice. It would flash up with the forwards, then flash up with the D-men, every now and again.
I'm pretty sure Vegas did that, but I don't think at any point I was sober enough to realize it. So,
but those sort of things that you use for sporting events, it's a really, really high-end investment. So it'll be really interesting to watch.
And I guess that was one of the big exciting parts for hockey fans is the fact that when they were talking about the chat about the actual inside of the arena and the things that were coming along. So some of the things they talked about were that ticker banner style thing would be around the I think the second level, just underneath the boxes. So there'll be something maybe going in there, and then they're going to utilize the two spaces that have always been there that they've just been covered with artwork, the two pictures. They're putting two new screens in on either side of those, so there'll be 4 screens on at one time, which is great as well.
Sell those?
So what? The big pictures? Who knows? Where are you going to put it on?
That's the thing. What are you wrapping your house on it?
Just in my garden. Just gonna mount it in my garden. I can still get under it to get to my car, but just everyone has to look at. One of them's Colin Shields, isn't it?
I don't actually know what's on. I don't know what's on them. I can't remember what's on them.
It's two players.
I thought one of them just constantly said Friendship 4. Maybe I'm wrong.
No. They've got big banners that they put up for events, but the player ones, there was always 2 big player splash pieces of art. And I'm pretty sure Colin Shields is one of them.
Maybe. So yeah, no, it's
interesting. I'll bring him home.
It's an interesting
carport.
So yeah, it's an interesting time in Belfast. We'll see for those living in Belfast. I'm sure when we're passing the arena during the off season, we keep our eye over to see what changes are happening.
Send us pictures because I live vicariously through all.
Well, it'll be interesting. We're going to talk about the 3 ice tournament later on. We'll come back to that later on, but it's interesting because obviously that's going to fall. That 3 ice tournament falls at the start of December, at the start of July. So officially, I think the O2 deal starts at the start of July. So I doubt a lot of changes will be made for that 3 ice, but I can see there's obviously stuff going on.
I heard there was a lot of painting going on inside.
I'd heard there was a lot of blue paint being used.
Have been turned blue, which
I
mean that could be controversial in itself. So let's see how that goes. Belfast clearly set themselves up for the arrival of the Dublin franchise. So let's
picking their side already.
Yep.
Moving from one arena to another, the other big news story so far in this off season is the announcement that the Manchester Storm will be moving back home to the AO Arena in the heart of Manchester. This is a massive move and a massive announcement from the Manchester Storm. This is an announcement of intent. We had the co-owner coming out and saying, she said that she hopes that the Manchester Storm will be competing as the top team in years to come, in the next few years. That's their
In
ambition is
Europe,
going to be
she
in
said.
Europe. Sorry, in Europe, yeah. So I mean, that's big ambition. This move to the AO Arena, it came out of it came as a I think it came as a massive surprise, definitely. I think it's a great announcement. It's great to see Manchester moving back to an arena. Now, what they have said is in the first season, or the first season or two anyway. In the first season, the release of season ticket numbers is a bit lower than what they obviously maybe would think about planning. They'll be using a lower level part of the tiers, because they have, I think that one is quite high in terms of 3 tiers, and I think it can hold something
tiers.
like 2 tiers. I think it can hold something like 17,000 or something overall.
21.
There you go. So they're going to use a smaller and the lower tier, but also cut off part further on down. So it's going to be reduced number wise to
It's going
kind
to be
of
like
obviously.
Belfast. It's going to be 3 sides.
Yeah.
Like when we don't put the East Stand in.
Yeah. So
and that's what they're going to go with.
The main thing is it's another arena team that's coming back in. Obviously it's not a new franchise, but it's an arena team, because obviously they're moving back to the arena, moving out of Altrincham, because obviously the thing happened, and I don't know if we reported on the news of that. No, we didn't. The whole messiness of Altrincham, where there was
Tell me he's doing
Y and
that
Z,
for me too.
and then they've moved into the AO Arena. So I mean, guys, what's your take on the AO Arena stuff? Dave, we'll go you
Hot
first.
take is, I'm glad you didn't drop off there.
Me?
Yeah, we got a wee bit of a delay. Obviously you're a wee bit further away than we expect, but you know. No, the AO Arena looks absolutely amazing. Like it's in my opinion, it's on a different level. You know, if I'm right in saying that'll make them to have the possibility of being the largest capacity team in the Elite League. It's a very modern arena. I know it's been around for a while, but it's had a lot of refits. It's extremely busy for other things happening. And it's also got a really high-end title sponsor. So it's going to be one to watch. I also think there would be a what's a way to put it? It would be a question whether they should be the ones that host the playoff final.
That's my biggest thing.
Yeah, they're in my opinion, in a slightly better location for travelers. They are they have one of the biggest arenas, and they are in a pretty central city center location.
The arena's here. The train station's here. They're parked on top of the train station. So
it reminds me.
Arena, it's gotta be
like
a no-brainer. Yes, we know the playoffs are signed up till 2029 in Nottingham. As soon as that deal's done, there has to be a deal done to move that to Manchester. Let's
remember they did host previously in an old iteration. So we know that it has
biggest game in British history was still there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sheffield, Manchester. It was remains the biggest game in hockey history in this country. Like it has to be a complete no-brainer that playoffs moves there, and surely now is the opportunity to do something with the Challenge Cup that retains some kind of regular weekend-long presence in Nottingham. The vast majority of fans still love going to Nottingham, because you go for playoffs at Nottingham, there's this little core area around the arena which is geared all for hockey fans because of playoffs. Do something with the Challenge Cup that brings hockey fans together for a weekend. I don't care what it is. I don't care what the setup is. I don't care if it's 4 teams that go or if it's all 10 teams that go. Do something that brings everyone together for 3 or 4 days in Nottingham, and let playoffs sell playoffs the way it should be sold to a 21,000-seater arena, fill it, and get that attention on the sport. That has to be a complete no-brainer for the Elite League board right now. Has to be.
I suppose my other question comes in the fact that like this is an exciting time for Manchester fans, obviously to return home
And us.
to the arena. Well, us as well because we get the we get to explore a new venue. But here's the question that I was kind of wondering. Obviously the announcement for the AO Arena gets people excited. Fans start to expectations start to rise, and what could be starts to kind of play on everybody's mind in terms of like what's going to happen this next season. Does Manchester get a bit of a almost like a buy ball this season as like this teething, like this is what we're going to build, we're building, this is what we're doing, or do they feel the pressure straight off this season because people will expect things straight away?
Both. They'll feel the pressure. They'll feel the weight of expectation. No one, I think, will expect them to lift silverware this year. That's still the weight of expectation is still on the other 4 arena teams, which seems mental to say right now. The other 4 arena teams, because we half the league is an arena team now. You count Cardiff. Shut up. You have to count Cardiff.
It's not an arena. It's not an arena.
Yeah.
It's the Vindico Arena.
It's not an arena.
They'll chew your leg off. Here, they're adding more seats. That's what Todd said.
Where are they putting them?
They're building them on like
Exactly.
rafters, just setting them at the sides.
Just like hanging,
So you're like-
hanging them from the roof. People,
They're going to put a Perspex window in the roof, and they're just going to put
Yeah.
seats up there so you look through the
or
ceiling.
like paragliders. They're going to clip them to the top and just have them hanging over the rink.
It's like a little,
World's worst.
little wooden structure, and just like sitting, and you'd be like
They're
swaying
going to
from
put the
side to
big blue
side.
tent on top.
Still, they would definitely have better sight lines than the blue tent. Like.
100%. But yeah, I think it's both. I think the weight of expectation is still on the arena teams. Everyone will still expect those trophies to go to either Belfast, Sheffield, Nottingham, or Cardiff are the other ones there. Manchester will be expected to be further up the table because the expectation will be that they will have a larger player budget going in this season, maybe. But let's wait. See, it doesn't have, I saw that coming out. No, it doesn't. But I still stand, Anthony. Guildford is the strangest place to ever. I like
Yes.
to go and watch hockey. I've never been so close to families in their swimming costumes and also a bunch of hockey players ready to
While holding a
crap
beer.
out of each other while holding a beer between them.
Yeah.
It's such a weird setup. But you're absolutely right. They probably don't have a wave machine. I can't confirm or deny it. But if we get wave access, that's on my head. But if we get media access this year, which I'm hoping to get, then I will ask that question. That will be my first question to the arena staff: is do you have a wave machine? They will immediately think that I'm on something and will throw me out of the arena.
That's the only two. That's kind of where we kind of stand, I think, for the off season. Am I missing any particular stories that you guys think that I have that we've kind of haven't covered?
I don't think so, buddy. Nothing that
Well,
we can come back to.
The only one is I don't think on our last podcast we had confirmation that the Giants weren't going to be in the Champions Hockey League.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Yep. Good shout. Yep. Good shout.
Due to
Scheduling.
other challenger leagues and challenges due to scheduling, the Belfast Tattoo, I believe, had already signed the dates that the CHL wanted to use, and the Czech team got it. Am I right in saying?
Mhm.
So it's a sad state, but it does look very likely that the IIHF Continental Cup is going ahead this year, and it looks like
Superior
the Giants may
competition
be there.
anyway.
Well, we
It
got
is,
we
yeah.
did we got confirmation of that the Belfast Giants will be playing in the IIHF Continental Cup in Group. Did I say Group B, Group C?
Group C, I
but-
think.
France.
We
Yeah,
went
yeah.
straight to the second round.
Yeah, second round, Group C. Three of the teams will advance into the final weekend, with one team will kind of get put out. So it's
Slovaks
interesting.
got our space in
So yes,
CHL. Got
that has been announced. Now the location of that weekend for that group stage hasn't been announced.
No.
My take is that Belfast won't host that round. If
They
Belfast
can't.
get through to the final, Belfast will, I believe, put in a bid to host the Continental Cup final
Yeah.
here in Belfast,
So
and I would imagine they would get
Belfast
it.
can't do the second round because Brian Cox is performing his stargazing tour thing.
Oh,
So
there you go.
we won't be hosting the second round.
So
but I
hang
do
on,
agree
hang
with
on, hang on, hang on. You're saying we
Oh,
were
God.
Cox blocked?
you. For fuck's sake. And that one deserves a boom boom.
I will add that post.
But yes, that was brilliant. But
Here,
yes,
I meant
so
to
there
do
we-
this earlier, Marty, actually, just to annoy you, but
That is not allowed. There's no games. That's not allowed.
calm down. Switzerland have scored 2 goals against Bosnia and Herzegovina in the World Cup. Thank you very much, since we've been podcasting.
Sorry, that is football. That is not ice hockey. Let's keep that off this podcast. Thank
It's
you
a
very
goal.
much.
It's a goal. It's still
Let's
a
keep it
goal.
off this podcast.
soccer ball.
Soccer ball.
Yeah, soccer ball.
Yeah, so that was a bit disappointing to see that the CHL wouldn't be happening this season, but yeah, Continental Cup.
I still stand. I love being a fan of a team who gets to go to the top level of hockey, and the CHL's great. The CHL's fantastic for exposure and all the rest of it. But to be honest, the draws that we've had have completely put me off traveling because it's way too expensive. The way that they're scheduled, there's usually big gaps. So it extends your stay if you want to do them all, or if you look at the gap between the second and third games was like a month and a half. So you're talking about traveling twice. To me, the biggest benefit with the Continental Cup is the format, because you're in a single location for a full weekend, a long weekend. Honestly, a couple of the best weekends away I've had have been the Continental Cup.
Agreed.
So I still stand. The Continental Cup, while it is a run down, it is a superior competition, and I prefer it. When I look at the silverware, would I prefer to lift the enormous CHL Cup or the Dinner Plate of Destiny? Probably the CHL Cup, because it looks awesome, and honestly, it looks like it would sink a boat if you tried to take it on with you. The Dinner Plate, it's fantastic. I'd love to lift it.
I love that Scott Conway's tweet from a few years back resurfaced this week, in which he slated the made fun of entrance into the
Do you know what? He's
Continental
got a
Cup.
habit of doing it. He slated the Scottish refs, and then he came back to the league. He slated the Conti
true.
Cup. Do you know what? I don't even care. He won't be our captain, but I'd love him to be the one who has to go pick it up. I'd love Goody just to say, "You go get it," because that'll
cheers.
just go viral. You go get it.
I think that's it. Anything else for this
Yeah.
period before we move on to our next period?
I've got
John?
one just on a UK perspective, just an update on something that we've been talking about. The merger of Ice Hockey UK, English Ice Hockey, and Scottish Ice Hockey has progressed on a little bit since we were last all together. The legal documents, the Articles of Association, have been drafted and have been shared publicly.
Articles of Association.
the
Sounds like they're
announcement-
like set up an empire or something.
I mean, they essentially are.
The Articles of
but-
Association. It's like,
They have made the announcement that they expect the merger to be fully signed off and legal at the end of this month. So from the 1st of July, we should have a unified body for ice hockey here in the UK. So next month it all starts again. We go back to a national governing body, and we await to see how that will impact the game from grassroots right up to the elite level. It's an exciting time.
yeah, 100%.
That's us, I think, then, for this period.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
then let's round off period 1 and let's get stuck into period 2 of hockey.
Hello and welcome to period 2 of hockey. This is where we'll talk about hockey from around the world. In this case, it is the majority of this will be covered by the NHL because there's an elephant in the room, and it's obviously we know who won the Stanley Cup. And I should have put my jersey on. Well, I should have put the wife's jersey on. To be fair, you can sort of see it.
Do you want to go put it on? Switzerland scored again, so I can play the goal horn if you want.
You play the goal.
Don't play a goal horn. Thanks, John.
Smooth. So the Carolina Hurricanes have won the league or on the Stanley Cup for their second time in 20 years. In 2006, obviously they lifted it for the first, and then 20 years later they lifted it again. And in some style as well, I have to say that was some unbelievable matchup between Carolina and Vegas. It was some of the most exciting games of hockey I've seen in a while. But who's seen Jordan Staal come out as a absolute beast, with basically one of the best single rounds of playoffs in history.
Wasn't the Stahl brother who played in the Elite League the one who was on their air raid siren for one of their home games?
Yes.
It was Eric, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he was getting
so.
the plaudits of being an absolute machine on that, because I think he kept it going longer than I think anyone has ever done it. It's like, man, find he's calling. Like, clearly it wasn't ice hockey when he got to the Elite League, and his brothers just lifted the Stanley Cup. But yeah, fair play to him. Man can crank one out, so he can.
He can crank a horn. But I will see a very pleased wife in my house, and she was able to say that they've lifted the Stanley Cup again. So, oh, it's good. Okay, just innuendos all over the place.
I've lost control of the podcast.
I didn't know Eric Stahl was in your house.
Very good.
Oh, moving back to the story.
He said it, I didn't.
Right, let's move back. Let's take it back and bring it back.
Take it back.
Let's
Bring it
take it back in. Let's wind it back in.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I suppose one of the big things about, obviously, as you said, Dave, he had a phenomenal end to his campaign. Jordan Staal, now 2-time Stanley Cup champion, after previously winning with Pittsburgh Penguins. He officially became the oldest player to win the Conn Smythe Trophy as the most valuable player during the playoffs, scoring 8 goals and registering 4 assists in the championship run overall. And he's also the player who was noted as having his 17-year gap between titles, which is the longest in NHL history for a player.
Wow.
Here, can we talk about Rod the Bod?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Brenda Moore. So, one of only 4 people to have captained their team to the Stanley Cup and then coached their team to the Stanley Cup, and it be the same team. Can't remember who the other 3 are. I saw a stat that the NHL put out about it. That in itself is incredible. But
what was that interesting fact the interesting thing that you sent in our group chat about?
Coming to it. So
sorry.
It all kind of went a bit viral because in the locker room, Rod was shirt off, tarps off, and lifting the cup up above his head. But it turns out he's been playing chess while every other coach was playing checkers. So he made every player on that squad lift 25-pound cinder blocks over their head in what he called, I think it was working man lifts. So none of the players had any idea what they were doing. Stanley Cup weighs 25 pounds. He was making them practice lifting the Stanley Cup. That's just mental.
Amazing.
That's brilliant.
Oh,
But
So
he's
good.
also, he has to be the most jacked head coach in the league right now. Like, that photo of him with the cup over his head is impressive. Like, absolutely wild.
yeah.
Can we also take a moment to acknowledge as well Brandon Bussey, rookie goaltender, 22 saves. It was his first career playoff shutout, and it was the Stanley
He's
Cup
the
final.
only rookie to get a shutout in the rookie season and win the cup
It's insane.
through playoffs. It's
Crazy.
no other rookie's ever done it. History making
It's just-
season all in by that team.
Yeah, and their win percentage is the best win percentage since the Oilers in 1989, 1988.
Gretzky era.
maybe? Gears Gretzky. It's just like every single stat is almost world class. And to be fair, they weren't on my bingo card. For this season for the cup. So
No, I had Florida again, and they just tanked.
I had Vegas.
pretty damn close. Obviously,
Yeah.
I had the Wild, but that's just not.
Incredible season from the Canes, and with all those stats, I can't wait for Nashville to hang a banner for them in the Bridgestone Arena.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. So Marty, I will pass it over to you because that was one of your points, but the other two that we have are also yours. So if you
No,
wanna-
you're all good. I suppose the first one. Let's talk about the first one because it's coming up next week. The first one, after obviously the dust is settling on the Stanley Cup playoffs, but as the dust settles on that, we turn our attention in the NHL to the draft lottery, or the draft, sorry, I should say, which takes place next weekend in Buffalo. The first round order has been set, and it looks as follows. Toronto will go first, followed by San Jose, Vancouver, Chicago, New York Rangers, Calgary, Seattle, Winnipeg will choose 8th. Florida Panthers, the Nashville will choose 10th. St. Louis will be 11th. New Jersey, New York Islanders, Columbus, St. Louis, and Washington. So that's the top 16 picks. Hurricanes, having one, will pick number 31. I mean, everyone's attention turns now to the draft and who and where certain players will turn up. I think one of the big surprises did come in the fact that Toronto were pulled first draft pick in terms of the order for moving up to this season. Whether or not they'll do anything with it that is going to be impressive enough to turn around what is looking like a really difficult time at the moment in Toronto is another it's another question that comes up. But boys, anything in relation to the draft that's came up, anything in the draft so far that you're looking forward to, I suppose, next week? Is there anything you're expecting from your team?
Geez, the Wild or something daft. Like they don't have a first round pick because they give it away, but I think they might even not have a second round pick.
That's my dog. John,
She's obviously not happy with the Wild not having a first round
clearly
pick.
not. Clearly not. John, anything?
For the Preds, I'm not entirely sure. Like our entire setup looks shanky at best. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what we target. Being honest, I don't think we'll do the expected. If the top 10 all go the way they're expecting, then it puts a right winger, a center from NCHC on our radar. But honestly, I just don't know. The funniest thing is with the Leafs in pole position here through the lottery, Gavin McKenna, the number 1 draft prospect, I think it's probably fair to say he hasn't yet given an overly enthusiastic interview about the likelihood of playing his NHL hockey in Toronto for a couple of seasons at the very least. He doesn't seem super happy with that idea, which has been quite funny to watch. I don't really pay too much attention to the draft unless something massive is happening. But I might keep an eye on draft night just to watch what McKenna's reaction is to what has to be said, incredibly high likelihood that he will be picked by Toronto.
There's also the possibility that Toronto could go with Iva Sternberg, who's currently playing for the Frölunda ice hockey club, who's had a absolute phenomenal season, and he's the very close second, with a lot of people saying this year he's done a lot more in a very competitive season over what McKenna's done in Penn State. So it could be anybody's. You get more like, we know that the NCAA system is stacked and difficult to play in, but Frölunda is what it is. He's got a lot of exposure to multinational teams, and it might be a good fit for somebody who can maybe hold his own a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, the likelihood that Toronto doesn't go for Gavin McKenna, I mean, it would be. I think it'd be, I can't see them not. To be honest, I think there's been so much hype around it. There's been so much talk around him as a player. There's been so much hype around the fact that when they put it number one, everyone was like, "Oh, well, we already know where Gavin's going." But as you say, John, there has been a bit of he kind of the things that I seen, especially during the combine. He was kind of like, "Yeah, it'll be an honor to play for them." But that when he was saying
Like
an honor to
he had
play
like
for
an
them,
immediate, he
it
had
was
like an immediate reaction to the draft lottery.
yeah.
Because I think he was, obviously I think he was available. Like I think he was maybe even at the draft lottery, and um, I think the cameras went to him, and it certainly wasn't a glowing, beaming smile on his face when Toronto came out on top.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So there you go. The other story, I'm going to move on from the NHL draft. We'll come back to that maybe on our next off-season podcast, but we will talk about it on our socials. We'll put in some stuff next week in the lead up to the draft. So keep your eye out for that, and we'll get some of your thoughts and opinions on the NHL draft lottery next week. But the last story, which came out this week, was around the hockey fans' mourning, shall we say, the loss of the end or mourning the end of Hockey Night in Canada after 75 years of being being on free air TV. A new Sportsnet starts a new 12-year deal with the NHL worth 7.9 billion, which will see the I suppose that as we know it, Hockey Night in Canada will end. Now they have said, CBC have said that that the ownership and the branding and the iconic trademark will not be used because that belongs to the CBC and it won't go to Sportsnet. But will Hockey Night in Canada be still a thing? Who knows? But it's a massive change after 75 years to see something that is a staple of Canadian sport disappear.
Crazy.
I mean, was the writing on the wall with Dawn? Like, you can call anything an institution, but whenever look, Dawn didn't start Hockey Night in Canada, but he was synonymous with it. And when his political views started taking over from the hockey entertainment side of things, obviously he was let go, and that left Ron MacLean in charge of Hockey Night in Canada. And Ron was always the straight guy to Dawn, and I think something was clearly lost in that as well. Now, Hockey Night in Canada going away is a licensing issue. It's nothing to do with the personalities having brought it down. But you've got to feel that if there was a draw of personalities like Ron and Dawn, then maybe CBC might have fought harder on this, or may have tried to get their foot in the door a little bit harder. And maybe the league might have seen more reason to continue on, because the deal with CBC, I believe, was actually, it wasn't necessarily costing the league money, but they were getting access to games and everything revenue free. There was no cost to CBC to broadcast the games, but it also meant that CBC weren't allowed to draw any revenue from advertisements. It was a really weird deal that involved no money. So it's not surprising when they can clearly get nearly 8 billion for a multi-year broadcasting deal. But yeah, you kind of have to feel that with everything over the last sort of 5 years around the personalities involved with Hockey Night in Canada, this is maybe not a big surprise.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that just after such a long history of it, I know it was a radio show initially, before it moved over to TV, I think in the 1950s, I think. But yeah, it's massive change. For Hockey Night in Canada, and as I said, stable. It's going to be gone for free to air stuff. So, we'll see what happens in the duration next
When I
week.
did my stupid video that I did on TikTok about trying to stay up for the Stanley Cup, I purposely used the Hockey Night in Canada music, or I found a video of Hockey Night in Canada because that music, that logo is synonymous. Even as an international fan, I actually think the Hockey Night in Canada stuff was what was carried over here.
Yeah,
So that was my in. Being much younger, I'm pretty sure Channel 4 might have picked up some. It was either Channel 4 or Sky Sports might have picked up the Hockey Night in Canada broadcasts.
I think it was. I think it was channel. I think it was Channel 5 maybe.
Channel 5,
maybe Channel
during
5.
during the days of like X Games and stuff back in the early years of Channel 5. I think it was maybe on there.
Yeah, that Hockey Night in Canada music going is one of the biggest heartbreaks of everything. So yeah, sad to see it go.
Yeah, sad to see it.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that it's something we're seeing across the board as well. You know, there's sport in general is becoming an almost non-existent thing on free-to-air TV. So it was always nice having some holdouts, but they're becoming few and far between. Guys, anything else you just want to cover from around the world? Or are we happy enough to move on?
Yeah. Let's
Happy
do it.
days. We move on to period 3 then.
Period 3 is our general Knocky News.
Knocky News.
Knocky News is for anything and everything else in the world of hockey that doesn't neatly fit into period 1 or period 2, or generally where we just throw stuff because we've either run out of time or we just haven't actually got anything for it, or we talk about jerseys. And we're going to do both in this podcast. Guys, the general chat this time around could easily have slotted into period 2, I think it's probably fair to say, but then there wouldn't have been much else to talk about this period. So, Marty, you mentioned it earlier on, the 3 ice competition is coming to Belfast.
Yeah, we talked about it at the tail end of the season last season when it was announced, but it is quickly coming upon us, as it'll be coming up at the start of July, so just in 2 weeks' time, just over 2 weeks' time. The 3 Ice World Cup will make its debut make its is it debut for a World Cup? I think it's the World Cup mark is the new thing. Part of obviously 3 Ice has been around for a while,
yeah.
But the World Cup of 3 Ice World Cup will be coming to Belfast, 2-day, 8-team international tournament. If you don't already know, it will be hosted in Belfast, obviously, and it's confirmed that the teams obviously are Team Great Britain, USA, Canada, Sweden, Finland, Switzerland, Germany, and Austria, all coming in. They've obviously announced the coaches and the teams and stuff have been put together, and players and stuff have been announced. Some familiar names across the Elite League and across we've got some historic NHL names coming in as head coaches for some of those teams as well, Team Canada and Team USA specifically. But it's going to be it looks to be a good weekend of hockey for anybody who is missing live hockey. Before Anthony jumps on me saying that there's other hockey still being played in the world, we know, but live hockey in some form is being
That was
played.
some impression.
I know. Well, it's not very good English, to be honest. I can't do an English accent. I'm not going to even try. But we have a form of ice hockey, shall we say, being played in 2 weeks' time in Belfast in the form of 3 Ice. I know neither of you boys can make it. Dave, I know you're away on holiday, and John, obviously you're in Scotland, can't make it over. I have got tickets.
I tried to make it, and I just couldn't make it work with everything else over the summer.
Yeah, I've got my tickets for the weekend, so I will pop along, and I will hopefully do some coverage of some description when I'm there. But no, it looks to be an interesting weekend.
You have access.
I have
access.
Okay, maybe I can see. Maybe a bit late for that, but I will see. But yes, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good weekend. So we'll put more details out in the coming week or so. Obviously, most people know about it. So if anybody hasn't got the tickets yet or thinking about it, there's still tickets available. But yes, it should be a good weekend of hockey for anybody who's needing a bit of a push. That's all I had to say.
See Jeremy Brodeurs making his way back to Belfast again.
Yep.
Netmining for the USA. Actually, you said it. There's some interesting names in there. One of the ones that was catching me was Anton Carlson playing for Sweden.
Yeah.
There are some really impressive names that are going to take part in this. And what I didn't realize is that this is effectively being used as it's being used in its own right as an entertainment product, but it's being used as a test bed because it's expected that 3-on-3 hockey will be embedded in the Winter Olympics from 2030.
Yes. No, that's correct. That is
So-
correct. Yep.
That's interesting that they're adding a second ice hockey competition into the Winter Olympics, because clearly they're not going to get rid of the traditional 5-on-5 game. But it's interesting because to me that's a real in for more amateurs into the Olympics if you've got a separate 3-on-3 competition. I don't know if the intention would be to have them running parallel, because the ice hockey runs pretty much start to finish across the Winter Olympic schedule right now. So could they really expect the same roster of players to play across the traditional game and the 3-on-3 competition? I don't think so.
No.
You imagine what happens to Canada going into the 2030 Winter Olympics. Someone is injured in a 3-on-3 competition and isn't able to go and compete in the sort of traditional one. Like, that's, yeah, really, really interesting to see how this format works, because it's not even in traditional hockey format either. It's 2 8-minute periods of just constant action as well.
Yeah.
So I see that it's being broadcast. I'm still waiting to see if that broadcast will be available here. And if it is, I'll definitely be watching. And if not, I'll find a way to watch it.
Yes. As I say, as you say, the lineups have been announced, and we'll put some stuff together over the next week or next week or two, and we'll probably be pushing that over on our socials as well. So keep an eye on all of the socials over the next 2 weeks as we kind of gear towards that.
Cool. Guys, that just leaves jerseys to talk about then. And we have a couple now. Now, Marty, we obviously have something that we want to talk about, but I don't know. Do you want to do this other one first?
Yeah, let's do the other one first. Let's do the
the other one
first. Officially, the first jersey for next season has been announced. So let's do that one first.
It has. So the first jersey that's been announced that I know of, and admittedly, with having 2 kids now, I haven't been just on top of all the breaking news that's coming out. So if anyone sees jerseys being announced over the summer, please send them to us, because if I miss them, I can't do reviews. And we all know last summer, one of the big things I think that drew people into our socials was the jersey reviews as they were being dropped. So please send them to us and we'll do jersey reviews. It won't just be me. There's other people in the podcast as well. They'll do jersey reviews as well. But let's kick into the first ones. We haven't done an online review of these yet. The Milton Keynes Lightning have revealed their jerseys for the 2026-27 season. They've got their light, their dark, and their green, which I can't remember off the top of my head what the green is for. I think it might be a special jersey. Anthony's going to jump straight in here and tell me what it's for. I quite like these. I've been a fan of the Milton Keynes rebrand since it was done. I think it's one of these flattened logos that works really well. I think it's better than that old M lightning bolt thing. And generally, I think these are handled really well. As far as sponsors go, it looks pretty good. The black one, I would really prefer, again, like, I know they probably can't do this, but would be to pull the colours away. The black one's probably my favourite. But I'll say I would like the green/teal one if I understood why they've gone with green and teal. It's a warm-up jersey. There you go. Anthony's straight in there. That's the warm-up jersey. Still don't really understand why they've gone with green or teal. There might be some local reason for it, but
It's the sponsor's colour.
could be.
No, it is. Here's a
Oh, which sponsor?
Life's
Lifestack.
Okay.
on the white
Good for
jersey. You can see it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Great. Marty, you don't look convinced.
I just think that I think and I think I seen this when I seen this going up the other day, and I seen a few of the fans, the Milton Keynes fans, comment underneath. the sponsorship, the two main sponsorships on the front, Lifestack and the casino one underneath, they dominate. They're so big. Like they just take up so much space in that jersey. I just think they're massive compared to the actual logo in the middle. I think they take away your eye from the logo. No, John, no. I mean, no, but like look at it. Like I mean, at least the I mean, most people will go with one large sponsorship at the top above the logo. Fair enough, but that one underneath the bottom end, like the casino one, is nearly just as big. It's huge, and I don't like, and I know it's not going to be played in into a warm up jersey now that we know, and it's fine. But like, I don't like that it cuts across the lightning bolt on that jersey. Like it takes away the look of that jersey. That lightning bolt would look really nice if it wasn't cut across by the casino branding. Small things, but I just think, I mean, I just think it's really in your face, sponsorship wise.
Dave?
Yeah, I quite like it. I like the lightning bolt on the sleeves. I quite like that. It's a bit different. They've taken a risk, if you know what I mean. It's not just, they just haven't went standard hockey stripe on the sleeve. They went, we'll put a wee jagged bit, and give it a bit more of a lightning bolt feel. Plays into the sort of style. I'm not overly fond of the sort of sublimated lightning bolt in the background of the black one or the white one, to be fair. But I can see what they're doing. It's definitely doesn't make it any worse. But I do think it's not a bad jersey to go with. I sort of get what Marty's saying about the sponsors, but I'm sort of at this point in looking at UK and European leagues. You just have to try and do your best to look past them, because some of them are like this is in no way the worst sponsorship I've seen on a jersey. There's what was it, the old Hanover Scorpions jersey? Sure, their Scorpions logo was in the crotch, and they had a massive sponsor in the chest. So like they're trying to do something to try and make it work. But no, it's a nice jersey. I think if I was a fan, I would be going, they've definitely done something. We'll see. It'll probably look a lot nicer on the ice, especially the sublimated lightning bolt will be. It will probably look less noticeable, if that makes sense. It sort of looks a bit.
I had to look up that Hanover Scorpions jersey because you talked about it. Oh my god!
Yeah, isn't it wild?
What's worse is it's the big Tui smile.
Yeah.
I'll burn my monitor after looking at that. Right. We've given our opinion on Milton Keynes. I think it's fair to say, Marty, is it time for the reveal?
Yeah, let's look at our next jersey that we have.
Let's look at our next jersey. Our next jersey, then, is the Door 14 Hockey Podcast jersey. Here it is.
Let me just give me a second. Hang on. I'm back.
See, that said, we needed like a 30-second video. This is great radio, by the way. So, if you're listening to the audio podcast, what's happening right now is everyone. My headphones are stuck. I'm stuck.
You're stuck. You took your headphones off like I did. I suppose let's talk about where these came from, and just kind of acknowledge the fact that the beautiful design that's been put together for us. We have had a previous jersey. We can see it behind John. John's is just there right behind him. We had a Door 14 jersey previously. We went through a bit of a rebrand makeover, a wee bit of an update last year because it was our 10th anniversary, and we switched our branding up a wee tiny bit. One of the things we'd always talked about, which we kind of overlooked initially when we made the design for our logo, was that we had Door 14 Hockey, but we never had podcast on it. And it was one of the things that always kind of bothered me, that I wanted to try and fix. So we went, obviously, with it when we rebranded last season, we went with Door 14 Hockey Podcast. But when we done that, then what we kind of realized ourselves was that our old jerseys, well, they're not out of date because technically the 14 still works, but as part of that, we wanted to do a bit of a refresh of a jersey. And John reached out or put out on our socials early off season, asking if anybody knew of anyone locally who would be interested in designing or producing a jersey for us. I put together a bit of a design, and 5on3 jumped on board and said, guys, we'll do it for you. We'd love to do it for you. So 5on3 put together this jersey for us, and sorted us out. And between putting the design together, sending it to 5on3, and then getting them to us, it was so easy and so quick,
so easy. And I think the biggest thing that we wanted to do this time round was we went with the previous jersey was made by at the time, the current supplier of the Belfast Giants stuff. And to say it wasn't exactly a straightforward process, I think would be underselling how difficult it actually was to get these jerseys produced. We wanted to go, they're obviously an international company as well. We wanted to go with a local company, a local British company. And that's exactly what we've got with 5on3. 5on3 are producing jerseys in the Elite League. They're Cardiff's supplier.
Coventry.
Coventry, not Cardiff, sorry. Cardiff made their own announcement today. Sorry, that's why I said Cardiff. Coventry, they supply Coventry. They do really good stuff for Coventry, and they've done really, really well by us. And we're supporting local, and it's just made the whole process from, like you said, Marty, design work which you've thrown together. The guys threw that together so quickly from us from a visual perspective. It helped us go through the couple of little changes and tweaks that we wanted to go through. They even incorporated the fact that we wanted a lace effect neck, because we're all massive fans of the lace neck. The small details like our logo being in the neck as well. All of it, you put it all together, and look, this isn't sponsored. We're not sponsored at all.
No.
But this is just amazing. Absolutely love it, and it's all the stuff that we talk about when it comes to good design of jerseys. And look, people, if you want them, you probably just have to message 5on3 because they've got them on the system now. Like, you want to rep Door 14 hockey? Go rep Door 14 hockey.
Yeah, we don't really get anything from it, so we don't.
No.
No. Yeah, go support 5on3. I'm sure they'll have no problem.
Yep, definitely.
And I'm selling their jersey.
But yes, no, I am 5on3. I think the jersey quality has been amazing, and I think that they've done some great stuff over the years. I know they've done a couple of others for a few other people. But no, yes, definitely. Thank you so much to the guys at 5on3 for hooking us up and getting us sorted with our jerseys for this season.
This will be the most worn jersey over the 2026-27 season for me in my collection anyway. Yep. Sorry, totally forgot we're still in period 3. Marty, that's it for period 3. There's nothing else to talk about.
Well, that's for period 3. Then that means that is it for our first off-season special. Thank you for anybody who tuned in and watched us live. Thank you for continuing to listen to us as a podcast. As usual, I'm going to point you in the direction of all of the different bits and pieces and where you can get all of our stuff. Let me just get up those bits and pieces now. First and foremost, as I said, you can check out this podcast and all of our other podcasts on our website, door14hockey.com. You can check out, as I say, this one and all the other ones will be there, as well as some of the old blogs and whatever else. So it's up here in this corner. Just follow the QR code and it'll take you straight there. We are on all of the socials. So we're on TikTok, X, Facebook, Insta, Threads, whatever. Door 14 hockey. So yeah, check us out there. Get involved with the conversations. We've had some amazing conversations over the last couple of weeks. Some really good opinion pieces, some good debates going on. So please do join us if you haven't done that. We do love hearing and reading all of the stuff coming through. So thank you very much for those who have engaged so far with that. And also then, if you haven't done so, check out our YouTube channel, which is on this QR code. You can get this episode and the other live episodes on our YouTube channel, Door 14 Hockey, and you can check out some of our other tier lists or other top 10 lists and all those type of things that we've created over the last year or so. Some of them will be coming, some more of those will be coming over the next few weeks. I have one in the pipeline coming up in the next 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully. We'll get that out, and that'll be about Elite League looking forward to the Elite League for next season. And this is based on some of the comments were made by you guys, talking about things that need to be changed. So we put together a little video, so we'll throw that out as well. I don't think there's anything else that I need to do apart from sign it off for this week. As always, thank you so much. If you're we're a podcast first and foremost. So don't forget, if your podcast provider of choice, whoever that might be, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review or stars or whatever it is on your podcast provider of choice, because it does help us in the long run and it boosts the algorithm and all that good old stuff. So please do that for us. We would really appreciate that. And that is it. Just time for us to sign off for this week. I'm Marty.
I'm Dave.
I'm John.
Have a great week.